thinking about marketplaces, until Web3, there's never been an ability for a marketplace to be curated by its community, right? At the end of the day, we collectively make Amazon a big deal, right? We make it a big company because we all shop there. Yeah. Well, what happens if we control a shop together, right? What are the rules we put in place? And that's something we're going to be discovering with this NFT DEX. It's going to be the first iteration of where a community that's shopping somewhere gets to choose the rules of that shopping, right? And then based on those rules, it's like, okay, should we have high fees and then really focus on inviting people in and then have different kinds of competitions that we use with those fees to incent more people to come in? That's one like strategy. That's one use case, right? But there could be another where it's like, we only want it to be us. Maybe what we do is we impose 0 fees on us and impose, a 20% fee on anybody else that's not holding our token. It ultimately is, a marketplace just for us. There's a lot of permutations, a lot of different ways to do it.
To the next level, as we said, every community can set their own rules, their own fees. And let's talk about the scenario that community sets their fees and connect that wallet with a governance treasury on realms. And then suddenly you can have a community that is making decisions on chain about their marketplace. And then to take it on the next level, you can imagine of a mint happening connected to a treasury through the platform. It's a bit futuristic, but we can explore ways to make NFT mints unruggable, just because there's not going to be any centralized party controlling those funds.
Yeah.
So it's these are just the building blocks. We invite people to start working, playing, and building, and we can take this to the next level.
Yeah, on that sense of being composable, allowing other people to integrate with this, how exactly, if a project is interested, what is the process behind this? I think this is where the Grape DAO starts to enter, which we haven't even gotten too far into that. So we're still on the NFT DEX. I'm curious if someone was interested in composing, what is the process behind that? I know the NFT DEX is still very early on, but let's say someone is ready to become an early adopter. What does the process look like that? And I think we were talking about this a little bit. I think people want to, at least Grape holders, want some sort of value to come out of this tool that Grape Protocol has created. So what is the entire process of if someone actually says, hey, I want to compose and integrate with this Grape NFT DEX?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, we launched this yesterday. We're still figuring out what, all the different components that do, right? Like today, I realized how valuable it is to have this follower, social interaction component on the marketplace, because now, if I want to reward my followers, I can do it much easier on this system than I can on Twitter, right? Like, I have whatever followers on Twitter. The process of getting their wallets and then trying to do some sort of airdrop or rewarding, it would be impossible. Whereas here, I already have those wallets. I know exactly what they're holding. I mean, there's some interesting dynamics that we're just discovering. So the answer is we don't have a path today. And our aspiration is for this to be completely open source. That being said, it's a lot of work to make things open source. So we're hoping that, we can make this a big enough deal where it makes sense for us as an ecosystem to make this open source. We want it to be open source. If anybody at Solana is listening and you guys like this DEX, reach out to us so we can work, together on making that a reality. As far as how the Grape token holders will benefit, well, as we discussed before around fees, today we don't have any fees on the marketplace. Most likely there will be some on our iteration. On other iterations, I think it would be fair, but we'll figure that out, where the Grape community is receiving some sort of
a small percentage
of fee. Now, there's also those bells and whistles of composability of feature benefits for holding, right? So today, all those benefits only go to the Grape holders. We're continuously looking at different ways you can carve up that holding to give different benefits, and we can even touch on sub-DAO tokens, bonded curve tokens through Strata later. But I think that's how it brings value today. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's something that came out from really loving the space. It wasn't, oh, this is what is going to make us the most money, or is going to make the most money to the grape holders. This is something that the community, the development team, everybody identified that the space needed.
Yeah.
So we built it, and we're going to explore with the rest of the NFT enthusiasts and the rest of the communities how this is going to bring value to any token holder and any community that adopts it.
Most community activity right now is NFT focused, right?
Yeah.
It's connected to NFTs. So it makes sense to look at the marketplace for NFTs specifically, but the marketplace concept, isn't restricted to just NFTs. Curation, what is in that marketplace, imagine like in the future when we as a society agree that we don't want to support any company that is not carbon neutral, then we will not curate them into our marketplace, right? Like it's these kind of things that are now enabled where, we can collectively have our own version of an Amazon that mirrors our values. How does that happen? It happens from community curated marketplaces. So this is the first example of it. And this is also the first example of a composable, with composable feature benefits. This doesn't exist on Ethereum. It can't easily, we were discussing this with Levi, even if it did, no one would be able to test it, let alone use it, just because there are so many,
non-financial transactions that need to happen.
So many transactions.
Okay, yeah. And this takes me to really the next thing, and this is super core to how Grape Protocol moves forward and continues to innovate. It's obviously not Dean and Chris up here making decisions on how this happens, which is part of the reason why you guys don't have an answer for the NFT DEX and how to integrate in the future. It's set at 0% fees. And now this is where we've definitely hinted at it. The community touched on it, but this is really where the Grape DAO comes in. And this is the whole community aspect of things. So just in general, what is the Grape DAO? I mean, I logged into your guys' DAO proposal page and there's like 8 proposals on there. And it just looks like this is obviously the hub of Grape Protocol, how things are moving forward. And not to say that you guys don't have contribution. You guys are core contributors, which does give you a decent say in what goes on, but it's open to any community members who want to come in, want to be a part of Grape. So it would just be great to get a little bit of context. And then there's so many things going on with this Grape DAO. Like I clicked into a couple things, seeing some sub DAOs, seeing
partner server awards.
Exactly. So all sorts of things. We can start with some context and then just dive into those couple things and then other things that you guys think are interesting.
Yeah. So on the DAO side, right now, for somebody to be considered a Grape member, they have to be holding Grape, and they need to be inside Discord. For whatever reason, right now we've adopted Discord as our home. That's where almost every DAO today lives. So after somebody has verified that they're a Grape holder and they're in Discord, there's right now 2,200 people that have done that. They're holding different amounts of Grape, right? That's their membership amount.
Yeah.
To be part of the DAO, we as a DAO collectively agreed that they should be at the highest tier, which is currently around 25,000 Grape. That's called Gorilla, Class A, right? So after you're a Gorilla, there's a channel that appears, which is the DAO application. So you have to fill that out, right? You have to consciously take a step to say, hey, I want to be part of the voting processes. Once that happens, every Sunday at 1 p.m. UTC, we have a call, right? And this involves anybody who's on the DAO. And currently there are 61 members on the DAO. Now, one of the first activity we do during the DAO meeting is we look at the sign-up sheets and we say, okay, who's submitted to be a DAO member? And then we look at their activity. What have they been doing inside the community? Have they introduced themselves? There's a special section for people to introduce themselves specifically as DAO prospects.
Okay, yeah.
And people put in like, a good like essay, like it's a good like, 5 paragraphs kind of thing. And then we discuss right there on the call if they should come in or not. And it's communal. Like if somebody has any reason, mention it right now why this person shouldn't come in. We're very consistent about doing that. We also remove people if somebody hasn't been active in 2 weeks on Discourse where we do our proposals. they're removed. You have to have a very high level of activity if you're going to be at that level of decision making.
Yeah.
Those 60 people are responsible for the proposals. They get to dictate what do we vote on, right? So those proposals are discussed at length in discourse, which is where you saw in the DAO.grapnetwork.org is a discourse implementation. And the only people who can comment and make proposals are these 61 DAO members.
Okay.
Right. So you can go in as a non-DAO member, read everything, but if you want to be able to be part of that discussion, you have to be a DAO member. After it completes its discussion portion and discourse, it's then elevated to an on-chain vote, which anybody holding Grape can vote on.
Okay.
Now,
there are some rules on this one. The vote needs to stay open for a couple of days. Some votes need to a number of votes need to be gathered in order for the proposal to pass. So there's a quorum that you need to meet, and all these little details are known to the members that are taking the decisions. But everything has first been discussed on discourse.
Yeah, that's a super interesting process, and it makes sense how you have the highest active community members, contributors, really making sure that what you guys are putting on chain makes sense and that people are agreeing it's innovative and good for the success and overall community of Grape, but then it does open up to Grape holders. I think that's a really unique way and really moving DAOs forward here. You guys are definitely, as we said, innovating on Solana, looking to create this idea of DAOs. Just for like a little sidebar here, it's kind of an easy, obvious question, but I always like hearing everyone's answers. What made it to come on Solana? When was it like this aha moment? Were you guys in Solana and then decided Grape would be awesome? Or was Grape always this idea of building it and it was like, okay, Solana is a good match?
That's a great question. I mean, from my perspective, I had lived a lot of the tokenized community world on Ethereum. And then after having been in Solana, there was that light bulb moment of, wow, all of this could come over there and be, a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
So much more efficient.
You need to be able to iterate and experiment fast. If there's one thing I'm positive, it's that we're always going to be in the front of innovation, right? Like, we're going to, like this DEX we made, I'm positive there's going to be more DEXs. I'm 100% sure we're not going to be the only. We're always going to be the first when it comes to these things. We're not going to always be the only, right? That's
like we were first in verification.
Yeah,
we're not anymore the only.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to take this and just ask the fun, hard question. Has it been difficult with the idea of having a DAO and having so many moving parts and community members? Has it gotten to the point where it is a little bit difficult to make some decisions? Do you see this inhibiting the DAO at any point? I know this is a big topic of discussion that people have. As you get more people, there are benefits to having some sort of leader in that aspect. What are your guys' views on the DAO as it grows? Do you think you'll be able to keep this innovation and stay on the front as more and more people come and contribute?
Absolutely. I think we're very good at delegating authority as a group. I'm going to give up one example where we had to have a vote to allocate some Grape to Chris so that he could then reward people at mtnDAO with Grape. Even though, he's a core contributor, he does not have the authority to just say, hey, I'm going to take, 200,000 Grape and give it. At the same time, this was an idea that came to him, I don't know, 3 days before we got on an airplane. And our standard votes are 6 days. So, that's an example where, okay, well, shucks, I guess we can't move forward with this idea. That's not what happened. We got on the call with the entire DAO and said, guys, we need to have an expedited process for this one. How about we do a 1-day vote on discourse? Don't put it on chain. And, we'll see sentiment. And, when you see 100% everybody voting for the same thing, it's like, you didn't really need to have 6 days, right?
Uh-huh.
Everybody's in agreement that this is a good deployment.
And what was I was very impressed at the moment we actually put the proposal. We had over 50% of the DAO vote within a couple of hours.
Yeah. So the DAO board, these 61 people, highly active. Why? Because if you're inactive for 2 weeks, you're gone, right? So and that's not like, hey, things happen in life. Some people have told us, hey, you know, I'll be back. Yeah, that's great. You're not going to be a DAO. And it's important. The activity is important when you come into things of like council tokens and quorum. You know, those are these heady problems that come connected to inactivity. But that's an example of where, you know, if we didn't have good delegation and good communication and transparency, nothing, you know, we would have just abandoned it. With the sanctuary, for example, we can go into that soon. I went from proposal, and now I'm hoping, you know, I asked the DAO board, can you guys please make this a vote proposal? You know, I know what those structures I would want to put in, but hey, let's see what the DAO board's going to put in. Like, I really hope it's a 24-hour. I hope it's on Discourse, and then I hope I can just go after that, put it on Realms, trigger an instruction to give it to those 7 members on the sanctuary.